Boom. Yeah. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Comedian Bible Study, the show where I trick my favorite people into talking about my favorite thing, which is God. Okay. And then we got my brother Channing here. As always, what up, Channing?
What's up? How's it going?
Oh, man, bro. I cannot. I went way too early. The song wasn't even over. My bad.
No. You were good. I think I pointed to you too early.
Oh, you just so hyped, man. Yeah. Well, I'm hyped too because I got an amazing guest in the studio today. Man, I can't wait to bring her in here. Hold on. Let me just let y'all know she just finished filming her first 1 hour special, so you got to be on the lookout for that. She's a regular on the Amazon original hit series titled Upload from Greg Daniels, and she is one of the hosts for Netflix's show 100 Humans. Thank you for being here, Zainab Johnson.
Oh, thanks for having me. Oh, yeah. Keep it going.
Zainab, thank you. I know this was weirded you out. I'm just so, we were just talking about how like this is like, weird comedian Bible study, but I just love the way comedians are critical thinkers and to open up the Bible or open up the religious text and see what's in there, man. Like, I love that. I love the way you think. I love if you guys, anybody who knows Zainab's comedy is a fan, right? Just because of the way you extrapolate, you break life down. And so please make sure you check out her 1 hour special. But in the show, as we're talking about today, what would you say is your theological stance as of today? I know some of your history through your comedy, how you grew up, but what would you say is your ideas about theology today?
Well, I identify as a Muslim.
Yes.
I believe that Allah is God and that there's only one God, and so, that has been my stance my entire life. I was born Muslim, right. And I think that throughout different parts of my life, I've probably had a stronger or weaker, or rather a practice that is more aligned with, what's in the text. And, in other times in my life, I have not been as close. And I think that's a journey. That's always a journey for me, it's like, my deen, which is what we call it, our deen. Yeah, and that's like the practice of Islam.
So it's the like law, and haram would be like to break the law, but deen is what it is. It's like the what to obey, like the guideline.
Yeah.
And so okay, and I love that you brought the text for today. So we bring we have a coinciding Bible text to the surah, but we're gonna read the surah first from the Holy Quran, and then we have a New Testament passage which coincides. But can
I just stop you? Yes. I do not mean to break the format of the show, right? But so a couple of weekends ago, I was in Washington D.C. doing a weekend, and a bunch of Muslims invited me to the masjid for Jummah prayer, which is Friday, Jummah services. And, in an attempt to be hospitable and all of that, they're like, do you want to address the congregation at the end? And I'm like, absolutely not. What? I want to come in, pray. I don't want nobody to see me. You know what I'm saying? I want to pray. I want to talk to God. I want to hear what I want to hear what the Imam got to say about what we, the state of being today as a Muslim. And then I want to go home.
Right. I got a question for you about, but just to give you a little spoiler alert. But I was gonna ask you, like, do they do like comedy? In churches you have comedy shows and you have this type of stuff. I didn't know if they did that in mosques, but I'm gonna ask you that after I read the word.
It's just that. So when you say you're gonna read a surah, I'm like, yo, why? What am I doing? This is ambitious.
Yeah, no, I'm excited because I love the connectivity, man, from reading these texts. But so here we go. So Surah Al-Ahzab 37. And remember, O Prophet, when you said to the one for whom Allah has done a favor, and you too have done a favor, to keep your wife and fear Allah while concealing within yourself what Allah was going to reveal. And so you were considering the people, whereas Allah was was more worthy of your consideration. So when Zaid totally lost interest in keeping his wife, we gave her to you in marriage so that there would be no blame on the believers for marrying the ex-wives of their adopted sons after their divorce. And Allah's command is totally binding. Matthew 19, verse 3 and 5 through 8. 3. Some Pharisees came to him being Jesus, to test him. And they asked him, is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any and every reason? 5. And said Jesus, for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. 6. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no man separate. 7. Why then, they asked, they tried to get Jesus, why then did Moses command that a man give his wife a certificate of divorce and send her away? Jesus replied, Moses permitted you to divorce your wives because your hearts were hard, but it was not this way from the beginning. Background, New Testament. This is from Matthew, one of the 3 synoptic gospels. Here, chapter 19, Jesus is at the height of his 3-year rabbinical ministry. Quran, a little quick crash course on the Quran, is literally in Arabic means recitation. It was given to the prophet Muhammad in a vision by the angel Gabriel. It is broken into chapters called surahs, and according to Islamic tradition, the first manuscript of the Quran was written down by the Prophet Muhammad's close aide Abu Bakr before his death in 634 CE. Zainab, why this passage? Sorry, that was a lot of reading. That was a lot of reading.
But why did you pick that? Hot on that.
Man, I got it out quick. Why that passage in particular, Zaynab?
So first, let me just say, I didn't, because you did, for me, I was like, wait, is it the moment you said Matthew, I said, oh no, now that ain't us no more.
Right. Because we more we're more coinciding before. The main 3 are Abrahamic, Judaism,
Islam, and
Christianity.
And it went Judaism, Christianity, Islam.
Judaism, Christianity.
In terms of the time. In terms of
chronologically. Right. And then we break off at Ishmael, right? Yeah. Because the Judaism follows Israel, Jacob, who would later become Israel. Yeah. But why did this
Why did I choose that?
Speak to you in particular?
Because that surah is based on Zaynab.
I'm not even familiar with the, okay.
So there's, I want to say, I don't know where you stand, but I have to, because they be coming after me in the comments. I am no religious scholar.
Yes. We doing study, y'all. Leave us alone. Okay? We are comedians and critical thinkers doing study. Yes. So we're not trying to be heretics. We're not trying to give you no new doctrine. But yes, please. Yes.
Come after me, you heathens.
Go get
I'll take your sins. I take this on.
Yeah, he'll fight you.
You want to flame someone, do me.
Right.
So there is a bit of controversy about the story of Zaynab. Zaynab is a few different characters, but one of the Zaynabs in the Quran is the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, his wife. And the reason why they're talking about divorce is because Zaynab was married to his adopted son.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I don't want to say that they're not just talking about can you divorce or can you not divorce? Yeah. Is it right has God permitted that or not? But one of the stories behind Zaynab in the Prophet is that, I don't know if it's the same in Christianity, but in Islam, there's the conversation on having more than one wife.
Right.
And the Prophet had many wives. Right. And the Prophet did not take on a wife because of her beauty or because he took on wives that maybe had deceased husbands and he took it on as a duty to serve, his community. Yes. And so they really didn't exist in vanity. His decision was not based on vanity or... Right.
It's not how dudes go to the club and let me get all these numbers.
Or I think a lot of the conversation when you talk about having multiple wives, it's always down to an age thing and a flesh thing and a lust thing, and and so from my understanding, the story of Zaynab and the Prophet Muhammad is that he got word from Allah that he was supposed to marry Zaynab, but Muhammad in his attempt to lead by example in spreading Islam was I don't want the people who I'm trying to lead to feel a certain way about this because this isn't right. And so that surah is like, what trumps how the people feel about you is what Allah commands you to do.
Yes.
That always. So while you can argue like, should I, is divorce okay? Right. You know what I'm saying? What can make divorce okay is I don't know how you pronounce it. Zaid.
Well, at least
right?
I might have said it wrong, but what Zaid. So when Zaid totally lost interest in keeping his wife,
but it's Muhammad's adopted son. And it's like, is it because he is not attracted? Like, is it because his heart has grown dark, or what? It's that doesn't even matter. Right. What matters is that Muhammad, you specifically. It was recited to you, that this is your wife.
And you came from if I'm remembering, you came from a nuclear family, like a mother, father, like always in the
both
house.
Parents in the house, a lot of siblings.
Like, so, and what did I'm not sure who named you, but did they ever give you like the lineage, or why they might have named you Zaynab?
I interviewed my mom a couple of weeks ago, and it's funny, and they asked her that question, like, oh, who named Zaynab? And she was like, well, I mean, her father, I guess, would say he named her, but I mean, it's like, these kids, it's like their father's so great, and like, who am I? Like, you could tell she had, like maybe we have some disillusion, maybe we have my father on this like pedestal, but so I do believe that my father named me because Zaynab can translate to a father's precious gift. That's one of the translations for Zaynab, right? Yeah. But there is like, so how you have Bible verses,
right?
And then you have stories that are kind of taken from the Bible, but then rewritten for children, whatever, to like service the practice of the religion.
Absolutely, yes.
So I'll explain the story behind Zaynab and Muhammad. So Zaynab, Muhammad had an adopted son. Right. He was a prisoner of war. And he and when the war was over and his parents came back for him, he was Muhammad. He was the Prophet's prisoner. Wow. He was a capture. He was a prisoner of war.
Zaid was.
Yeah. Oh, he's a prisoner of war.
Okay.
And if again, my understanding.
Right.
Prisoner of war. And when the war was over, his parents came back for him, and he said that the Prophet had treated him better than anything he had ever experienced. And he stayed. He didn't go back with his parents, And I don't know, maybe that's the story to really, really put the Prophet on a very, you know what I'm saying? He's a prophet. He's a very, Muslims believe he's the last prophet,
He's the last,
and so the Prophet adopted him, took him in as his son, and so with that, he had to give him a wife. And so, I believe Zaynab may have been the Prophet's cousin, but she was this beautiful woman, this esteemed, beautiful woman. So he's like, I want to give you the highest, woman. And so Zaynab apparently got word too that Muhammad was supposed to be her husband. But now there's talks like, well, are we supposed to marry our cousin? Right? We could get into that too. Right. But she was like, I don't care what nobody say. I got word too. Yeah. And the word for me was that I'm supposed to marry Muhammad. Yes. Right. And but there's you obey, right? And so she marries his adopted son. Right. And he goes over to visit. And he there's like contrasting stories. There's like one story was like, the Prophet walked in and Zaynab's beauty was so radiant that he could not stay there because
to get up out of there. Yeah.
And so Zaynab is the reason Muslim women cover up. That's the whole thing behind this particular Zaynab. Yeah. Oh, she's yeah, isn't that interesting?
That's interesting,
right?
Yeah. I mean, interject.
Or there's another interpretation of that story, which is Zaynab was losing her beauty. Yes. She was at first this esteemed, beautiful woman, but she was so unhappy because she wasn't actually living the fulfilling what God had ordained her to fulfill, right? And so it was actually taking away from her beauty. And that's what turned her husband hard. It's like, this isn't who I marry. And then the prophet came over to visit, and then her beauty reappeared.
Right.
And so even the adopted son was like, oh, now that's proof for me that you have to marry this shit. It's almost like thinking of a flower that blooms, because Zaynab also translates to an aromatic tree. So if you think about it, like, oh, okay, I'm basically, she's like a dying plant while she's here. But the moment the prophet walks in.
But see, like you were saying, like with the flesh, because it will rot. All your brothers who chase after the flesh, and that's what you out here doing, your flesh is rotting around your bones and around your soul right now. But when the prophet is probably able to engage with Zaynab on, because what I noticed about older people, my great-grandmother lived, here she is right here. She lived till she was 95 years old. You start to see a certain different type of beauty in a person as their flesh wrinkles and as other things are decaying around the physical, carnal existence of a person. I mean, is that something you've noticed? I don't know if you get better with age, in my opinion. Like I've known you for many years. You keep, but maybe that was some of the prophet's inclination, because he's so spiritually minded, not fleshly.
But I think I think there's two, like we're talking two different things, right? Like there's these very simple stories that people can understand. So it's like, ultimately, however they specify those stories, ultimately the end of that is like, so in order to avoid divorce, Muslim women, you got to cover up. You know what I'm saying, right? Like you got to cover up. So only your husband can see you, because we can't have all these other men out here seeing all of these goodies. That's what's going to cause divorces. Right. You know what I'm saying? So once you get chosen by a man, you only his to admire. Right? So that's one aspect of it, right? Then the other aspect is like obeying God. And nothing trumps, you know what I'm saying? Like it will, as long as you obey God, it will always be fruitful.
I've noticed that about you, because you also observe Ramadan during comedy. I've seen you at comedy shows, and I'm fasting, but you'll still continue your obligations. We were actually talking about the Hebrew boys who fought for Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar, but still maintained their own diet as Hebrews and wanted to do certain things they had. Like, how has comedy and as you're growing in television and these other mediums as well, has that tested your faith or made you have to put your religious I forget the word we used earlier in the program. Yeah, has that been compromised as you grow in comedy?
I'd say it can be compromised by society, but not comedy specific. I think that, I've only been very clear about who I am in the space of comedy. And I think a lot of people have accepted that from me, and even felt like they have been given right or space or voice, by me sharing my faith in the way that I do share it, like you see me fast during Ramadan, but you're also seeing me sit in front of you as a Muslim woman that's not covered up, and that's fine for me. Like, that's not that. I think I always say, comedy is just a subset of society. Right. When people are like, oh, are women not? It's like, yeah, there's sexism in the world, so of course there's gonna be sexism in comedy. Oh, there's racism in the world, of course there's gonna be. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a subset. So I don't think that I've had to change anything about who I am, because I'm already kind of like, some people would call me haram or not even Muslim, just because of how I function in
that
society.
You would get up on stage and speak.
Yeah, I remember I went to Seychelles, which is an island off the coast of Madagascar, and I went to perform and for a sheikh, and I remember the handler telling me, "Don't mention that you're Muslim." They didn't really want to bring a woman, but another comedian had convinced them, like, I'm telling you, she's good. Yeah. And they're like, okay. And at the time, it was the most money I made in my, just with one gig. Yeah. I had to fly all the way to Africa to do it, but it was the most cash somebody had put in my hand for one set, right? Yeah. And I remember right before I got on stage, he said 2 things to me. He said, don't look him in his eyes.
Ooh.
And don't talk about being Muslim. And I said, quite naively, I said, oh, no, I celebrate it.
Oh.
You know, and I'm standing there in like jeans and a tank top and my shaved head, you know, and just like, no, I talk about it in a good way. Like, you know, he said,
hey, what's going on?
Don't mention it at all.
Right.
And I was like, oh.
Because they would rather a woman from another religion be up, but if they identified you as Muslim, they would find fault in that.
Some Muslims, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now was that in a mosque, or was that just in a public, or what they would consider a public forum? Or?
It was in a public place. I have never. I could be wrong, but you know how I've done comedy shows in churches.
Word. Yeah.
I remember, you know, the comedian Takara.
Yeah.
Right?
Takara.
Yeah. Takara asked me to do a show years ago. Right. And it's like she was like, hey, can you headline this show? I'm doing a show. Can you do, like, I'm a host it. Can you headline it? And I was like, sure. And it's like everything she said after that was like all the reasons why I shouldn't do the show. She was like, okay, so it's in Compton. I said, oh okay. She was like, it's at a church. I said, do you want me to do the show? You telling me everything I need to say no.
Right.
You know, and it was an interesting set.
Right.
And at first, my first few jokes that were very much just about me as a, you know, you can't really specify like what the assumption is. Oh, she is a Christian just like we are. And then the moment, you know, I'm very honest in my approach to stand up and my material. And so I was like, it's crazy. And I told the story. I'm like, it's crazy. I'm up here because Takara told me every reason why I shouldn't be here. You know. Right. And then I go through the story and I was like, you know, and I know it can be weird, but I am Muslim. I mean, you know, I didn't say I fuck with Jesus. I ain't say that. Right. But I was like, you know, he's in our book too, just FYI. I know you don't think so, but he's, you know, whatever. Yeah. But after that, the audience kind of turned on me. Oh. But what was so beautiful was the pastor then got up after the show and did a whole sermon on it was quite wonderful. But that was just a sidebar. Yeah. We did that show like in a church. I mean, the organ right there, the pulpit, is that what it's called?
But yeah, altar pulpit.
It's right. It's right there. Like I have never seen that done in a masjid.
Oh, word.
Yeah, like the masala. That's where we pray.
Yes.
And that's where we pray.
Right. That's it. Yeah. You know,
I think that you can have also educational sort. Like you can have weddings, I think, and you can have religious service. Right. You can. I remember, you know, having you know, like Arabic study when I was a kid in the masala, but I have never seen like a social event, especially not a stand-up comedy show. Now, if it's a masjid that has like different rooms and maybe they do their socializing, but in the prayer, I never seen that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's dumb. I didn't.
Yeah.
Realize that.
I don't know if it exists, but I've never seen it.
What about female imams? I know, now the churches go at it about whether a lot of people interpret some New Testament that women shouldn't be in leadership positions in church. They certainly shouldn't be pastors. And there's so many ways that, you know, if you go, there's 45,000 different denominations of Christianity, but some approve of that, some don't. But and of course, there must be many denominations of Islam, but maybe I don't know.
There's not.
There's not that many?
No, it's not like that in Islam.
It's not denominations. It's not like conservative or like how Judaism has like
Orthodox versus or Hasidic versus. Yeah. I mean, I do think that like there is a scale of really everyone is supposed to practice as strictly as is written.
As written. Okay.
Yeah, and there's no the anything other than that is haram. And how do we work to get you to be practicing as closely to the text that you know that Muhammad has left for us about, you know, that God is Allah has left for us by way of the prophet. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
So is there law in there about female imams? The prophet mentioned that? I
don't know, because I have not. I have attempted to read the Quran many times, especially during the months of Ramadan, but I have never read the Quran all the way through. I have a very hard time with many different translations because I don't read or speak Arabic besides like just the things that I was brought up with and certain, but I'm not a fluent speaker and definitely cannot read it at all.
Sure.
And so I don't know. I can't tell you if there is or isn't. But in LA, I did for a short while go to a all female led masjid. I'm not sure if it's still around, but the everyone that went were all sisters, like all women, and the imam was a woman. And so but I also think about the quote, like the Malcolm X quote, who is converted to Islam by way of the Nation of Islam, and then through his pilgrimage.
Right. Would that be considered a different denomination? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm happy I said it. I would not. I think that, and people say, that people always, especially if you're a black Muslim, they like, you're part of the Nation of Islam. Right. And I'm not. I'm not a part of the Nation of Islam. No shade to the Nation of Islam.
Right.
But I do know that the Nation of Islam is a black nationalist organization.
Right.
That follows the teachings of Islam.
Right. For a specific goal in our society, which is very necessary.
Which is to elevate.
Right.
And I always say, like, rehab the black American.
Right. The condition of
exactly.
Of how
very
black people,
important. Yeah.
It's absolutely important. That's the thing, is like, I think even in Christian church, I've seen pastors in Muhammad Ali shirts preaching and Malcolm X, celebrating Malcolm X and I think that's what's so interesting to me when I see, like, as we were talking about how you can see beyond the flesh and things like that. Like, I can see when forgiveness and certain elements are in somebody, in another faith, more so than they are in the faith where it might be preached heavily, right?
Yeah.
Grace. I always tell people the story of, there's a man on court TV. He was Muslim, and his son was stabbed by a guy robbing him over a pizza. He was a pizza man. There's his son, and he was a Muslim. The father was Muslim, and he's forgiving this young. He said, "You didn't do this. The devil made you do this, and I'm not mad at you. And I just want you to know my son would forgive you as well. And it was written that this was to be his life, and this and this and that." And I've seen people, Christian people or people who identify as Christian, get up there and cuss, I hate you, and it doesn't do anything because it gives them something to push up against. But that brother broke down and cried and hugged that man. And I said, and I'm sure when he got up in there, he found something to read that would be more like that.
Yeah.
But it's so transformative when people live out those principles, regardless of whatever it is that brought them to it. Yeah. It's the principle. Like, when you can live it out. I see some Christians, I'm like, this ain't working for you, homie. Like, you walk around mad. This is not what you making Jesus look bad.
Well, because humans are humans, right? And I think that there is this. I was talking to my friend. Okay, let me say two things, just because I can imagine there may be some Muslims watching. Like, she's not mentioning Sunni and Shiite. I wouldn't call those two different denominations, but they are the two largest Muslim groups.
Okay.
Is Sunni Islam and Shiite Islam, and it's like, I believe it's about territory and who are I believe there's been like a very long war between like who are the rightful descendants of the prophet. So I just wanted to put that out there. But I was talking to my friend the other day, and she was telling me a story about some business opportunity that she's getting into. And we were like, it's like somebody was rude, and we were like, it's so crazy how we think like just because you like vegan and do yoga, you supposed to be nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, like if you're like, if we think like the CEO of like a Fortune 500, he or she's supposed to be a dick, right? But wait, you do yoga and you want me to eat right? Like, why aren't you a sweet person?
Right.
And I think the same thing happens with like religion, right? And I think everybody is on their different journeys of forgiveness. That's a very hard thing for any human being, for their child to be killed, and then to be able to activate a level of forgiveness almost instantly. I think that is something to be admired and keep in your mind as we move through this life and work on You know, these same principles that exist in every book, which is the deen. That's the principle. That's a good way to put it, which is love and forgiveness and grace and honor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
absolutely.
and sometimes we, you know, I mean, we always throw stones in glass houses. It's like, oh, you couldn't, but it's like, yeah, you was also yelling at the lady for getting your food wrong.
Right.
That's a way less offense than somebody killing.
That's what I mean. And,
you know?
And I know the surah kind of is about relationships. How important is faith?
We got way off the divorce part.
Right.
We could go back.
No. But I'm curious about you because it's more like because that's why I love to use the book, because really these books are the story of us. It's a story of us trying to navigate this thing, like you're saying, and fight these principalities that we're at war with. We're not at war with one another, at least according to the New Testament. We're at war with principalities and these things that take people over, that they succumb to. But as you're, it's about relationships. I'm not, and please forgive me if I dig too deep. Tell me, mind my business. I don't mind that, because sometimes I need to shut up, mind my business. But as far as dating, is faith an important element of you considering somebody to date?
I'd like it to be, but cause when I think about, I mean, I'm a pretty independent person, and all my life I've been, like I said, like I have already dealt with society. Right. So like, it don't matter what you say, we live in the United States and this is a Christian-based society. Right. Christmas is a national holiday. Right. Now, whether you break that down to consumerism or whatever, the reality is, as a country, it's law that we're celebrating this, right? It's like, yeah, people honor, like, it's Ramadan. Right. Oh, we gonna say, but ain't nobody closing schools for Ramadan, but we closing schools for Christmas, for Easter. That's direct relation to, which is crazy because you say it's a separation between church and state, but it is not at all. It's a very Christian church with our capitalistic state.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Keeping it real. Hold on, hit that. You've been heavy with the. Oh, there we go. You've been heavy-handed with that. We've been hitting some stuff in here, Channing, and you've been heavy-handed with the. Oh.
I'm looking up a lot of stuff about Islam.
Yeah. No, that's what I love about this show. Always educates Channing, man. Oh man.
But in terms of date, so like I am very used to interacting with non-Muslims in a cohesive and loving way. Yes. My parents converted to Islam, so all of my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my extended family, they're all Christians. Yeah. So I understand the merging of those two. When I think about just a relationship, I don't care what you identify as. Morally, we got to be on the same page. There's a lot of people
yoked in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't. You are fasting and you can recite the Quran backwards and front, but you rob people.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying that's, but for a Christian, whoever, it's like I want you to be a good person. I want our moral compass to be the same. Right. And if that means that I dated one Muslim man recently, and it was out of it now, I'm like, wow, if I would have stayed in that, and he was great on paper, great looking, really, I was like, I think he would have taken everything from me. And I don't mean like tangibly, but I mean like, I would have probably left, if I stayed in that situation for a long time, I would have probably left having to repair my self-esteem, having to repair you know what I'm saying? Right. And that was a very proud, almost arrogant, arrogantly Muslim man. Right. When I think about children, I do think that the practice structure in the household should be the same as much as possible. Yes. Just because kids are learning a lot, and I don't think confusion helps. No, in the development of a child. I mean, somebody could say, well, no. Maybe you could look at it as a great opportunity, like that their parents don't practice in the same way, and now they're learning, whatever. Right. And at the end of this journey, they get to choose, what, if anything, but a lot of me wanting to be good is me wanting to be a good Muslim. And so I know you can tell a person like, but don't you want to be good? Don't you want to be nice? Don't you want to be kind? But there's something else compelling in me when it is in honor of Allah. Right. And so that's a very strong pull for me. Right. And I think that would be a strong pull that I could teach my child.
Absolutely.
But if my husband is like, I mean, well, here, if every day we had dinner and I'm like, and he's, and he's thinking Jesus, like, that's fine. But then I'm not, I don't know. It's just, we're going to be teaching our kid a lot. Right. It's going to be a ping pong.
And ultimately it'll probably be their choice anyway.
Yeah, but, exactly.
It's cool to, and I think that's probably a better environment to just, to me, like, I grew up like, this is all mumbo jumbo. My great grandma was old and I was like, oh, she just scared to die and that's all this is. But then when I started seeing the connectivity and you're like, wait a minute, like, it keeps opening doors for me. So it's always fascinating to learn more. I'm addicted to learning. I think that's the only thing, if anything, and I love my wife to death, but if anything would break us up is that you just got to keep wanting to learn and advance. Yeah. My wife loves school, but learning is so important to me beyond school. Like she's very educated. But to me, I'm like, I'm trying to learn Hebrew now. I got Genesis 1 down, Bereshit, bara Elohim, Hashemayim. Anyway, God created the heavens and earth. Yeah. So I'm always trying to learn. If I'm going to read it, I want it, like you said, you want to learn a little Arabic. Yeah. There's always something to learn, man. I'm curious about life. I'm curious about other theologies, and I think that's important in somebody that you want to be with, that they should want to pursue wisdom and pursue knowledge and pursue talent and see that. Do you remember, and I know we got to do this Bible Belt competition real quick, do you remember that being encouraging you as a young lady in your household, being talented, being entertaining, or is it something that just you feel anointed, or the Christian word would be anointed or chosen by God to do it, but how was that cultivated in you as a youth?
I don't remember anything specifically like, a talent being nurtured, but I don't ever remember believing I couldn't do anything.
That's probably more important.
Yeah, I think that my parents made space for most of my interests. And I can't really remember, like, when I wanted to run track, it's like, well, get out there, you running track. And then when I switched to basketball, it's like, now she's playing basketball. Now we at every basketball game, And now that I'm a comedian, it's like, oh, okay, well, we're at every show that we can be at, We're supportive of that. Like, I just don't remember I don't remember anyone ever putting a doubt in my mind. And I think that's important.
That's probably more important than cultivating it, man. Because sometimes you feel forced to be an entertainer. But when you don't I love that, man. But you know what? I only got you so long, so I got to make sure we get down with this right here, Chan. I know you. Come on now. Got the Bible Belt. I'm up, y'all. I just beat Jay Light. I just defeated Jay Light and Danny Jollis. Thank you, Shannon.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, believers and non-believers alike, your host, Sean Grant, is coming off of 2 back-to-back victories against Danny Jollis and Jay Light. Today, you are taking on the Eid of entertainment, the Taj of television, the Caliph of comedy, the one, the only, Zainab Johnson.
Yeah, I hope we didn't do too much blasphemy right there. Oh, Lord.
In my mind, I was like,
wait a minute.
The Eid of comedy.
We can do that with Christianity.
No.
Cool?
You can do it. But isn't that crazy how there's this like assumption with Islam? Like, I love it. It's such a respectable, the standards are high for Islam. The standards are very high for Islam. I love it.
I was Googling everything over here, making sure that I wasn't.
You were able to say it?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Eid means party, Taj is a crown, and a Caliph is what was
Talib?
Like person.
Oh.
A Caliph is a
Caliph.
Prophet.
Oh, okay.
Right?
The prophet of comedy?
Woo!
There you go.
All right, we'll see.
So Zainab, you are representing the challengers, the guests, a whole lineage of guests that we've had in here, to try and take the Bible Belt back from Sean, who is the current title holder.
Okay, they had it at one point.
Right.
Oh,
I was
you guys
losing.
have had it.
Atheist beat me, and who else? An agnostic, and a Tequita beat me.
Tequita beat you. Oh, it bounces back and
Okay.
forth. But right now
Okay.
he's the two-time
You
champion.
get some hard questions. It's all multiple
The double
choice.
defending champion.
And also, if
You're
I tie with
battling-
you, I lose anyway. So.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's
Okay.
a tie goes to the guest. You're challenging him in a 3-question trivia contest.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Yes, sir. Oh snap!
Oh, it's on the screen. Okay.
Ooh. Oh, so you went. You went to the Quran.
I shook it up a little bit.
Oh.
I was doing a lot of work back here.
Okay. Okay.
Question 1. What is the Arabic word for angels? A. Messengers. B. Arat. C. Jinnat. D. Malika.
That's got to be a trick because if it's Arabic, then messenger is not an Arabic word.
Yeah, definitely.
So then, but maybe it's a trick.
But
Huh. I'll let you go first because I can't win writing your answers. But
no, well, I was gonna say I don't think I know because
Right.
Jenna is heaven,
oh,
right? Well, I
I'm
shouldn't
gonna
ask
let you get because
can't
now
tell
you
you right
helping
now.
me, so I know it's not Jenna.
And then
I think I know what it is.
it's like my little brother's name is Jay, but that's okay.
I'll let you go first. Yeah, I think I know. I think I got mine. Because I know.
I don't. I'll go with it. I'll go with Malachi, although I don't think that's correct.
Oh, okay. You know,
I know
was
it's
gonna go
not.
there, but I'm gonna go with Arat. B. Arat.
Okay. Sean's going with B. Arat. Zainab, you're going with D. Malika. Correct answer is
Messengers?
A. Messengers.
What is the Arabic word for angels? All right.
But
Oh.
wait.
Is it?
According to
That's
this
what it
Islamic
means in
trivia,
Arabic? Oh, okay.
in my mind, I was like,
yeah.
because my some of my brothers' names are Abdul, and Abdul means messenger. Like it's a
So technically it would be that it's Abdul, but like.
but it's
angels
not. No,
are
I think that's
messengers.
like a trick question.
It was a trick. All
Because for
right.
us,
This
we were
come-
thinking,
yeah.
how do you translate to Arabic? But listen,
This
okay,
comes straight from this Islamic trivia site.
okay.
Okay.
That's why I threw it in there. I was like, this one's weird.
I
I thought maybe you would know.
No, I
Yeah,
don't.
I
All right.
think he'd be working for the guests a lot
Yeah.
of the time.
Now back to our regular
My little
schedule.
Judy over there.
Question 2. At the time of Moses, when were the altars lit on fire? A. Dawn. B. Dusk. C. Always. Or D. On the Sabbath.
This is probably all guesswork because after Ishmael, Moses is after Jacob and Ishmael. And after 400 years of slavery in Egypt. So this is more Hebrew, Old Testament. So I should have the advantage here. But at the time of Moses, they were lit on fire. Wow. So this seems like a trick, but I'm guessing too. I'll let you guess first, or maybe you know, Zaynab. I'm sorry,
I don't. I'm just guessing.
okay.
But I would go with D on the Sabbath.
So on the Sabbath, I'm gonna go with dusk. B. I'm gonna go with B dusk.
Zainab, you're going with D. The Sabbath.
Yeah.
Sean is going with B. Dusk. The correct answer is C.
Always.
Always.
At the time of Moses,
Wow.
when were the altars lit on fire. Always. Oh.
They were always lit. Oh wow, dang. Okay.
So right now it's tied. We
we tied
both.
0-0. So yeah, if we,
Here,
This
let
next
me,
question
I
really.
gotta get it. I gotta not tie. I can't do the same answer as you no matter what. Because if we tie, I lose.
If I go to Explanation Nation on that question, the altar at the time of Moses was always to be lit. Leviticus 6:13.
Until he died or something, and then Joshua took over, and then they could put. All right.
I don't know.
Not bad. I didn't know. Sorry, everybody. All right.
Question 3.
Okay.
Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is what? A.
Oh.
Liberty. B. Peace. C. Forgiveness. Or D. Love.
What is it? Isn't it all the above or something? But I know a song, so I don't want to give Zaynab a clue. But I think there's a song. It doesn't say any of these words, but the word that it says is a lot similar to one of these words. So I'm gonna hold my answer till Zaynab.
There's a direct reference.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I'll bring it up after an
So
explanation.
Zaynab guesses I think I got the right answer in my head, but if Zaynab guesses it too, then I lose.
I say D love.
Ooh, I say A, liberty, because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. So freedom and liberty. I just know that white people song.
is
Liberty!
Liberty.
I got lucky. I just know that white people hill song. The white people gospel. Do they have gospel? Or I'm sorry, music like upbeat, like rap, like Muslim? Okay.
I mean, no, there are Muslim rappers. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But not specific to like.
But there's not a genre of music, not that I know of, based in Islam. Like the church has gospel music.
Right.
No, it's a very different service going experience. It's funny. My friend who's a comedian, Keith Robinson, he called me one day. Him and Wanda Sykes actually called me one day, dying laughing, like, Wanda apologized. She said, Zaynab, I'm so sorry Keith got me on. I'm so sorry we calling you with these shenanigans. I was like, what? And Keith was like, I realized, what have the Muslims contributed to R&B? Because so many gospel artists have made the best R&B records, Right. And so I just thought that was...
They get practice. They get practice in the church.
I thought it was so funny.
Man.
There's the explanation for that, though. Now the Lord is that Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty too.
That's in 2 Corinthians. Okay, yeah.
A little bit of a home field advantage for Sean.
Sorry, yeah.
Still, round of applause.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'm sorry.
I tried to get as many Islamic questions in there as I could.
I mean, listen, I didn't know the angels were called messenger. It's like now that you say it, that makes sense. But I really read it as like, what is the Arabic translation?
Me too.
But I met my expectation, which is I didn't think I was going to do well.
I barely was. So, I mean, you did amazing, Zaynab. Thank you so much for educating me on everything I did learn today. I mean,
thank you.
I feel like I just love learning. So thank you for blessing the guests as well. And how can people stay in touch with you? What else do you have going on? This is probably going to come out about 6 weeks from now.
Okay.
Because you got some other Taquita's episode, Terrence, and some other folks, Danny. So anything, where can they see?
Yeah,
what's going on?
They can always check out my website. It's zainabjohnson.com, ZAINAB Johnson. Instagram is Zainab Johnson, ZAINAB Johnson. So it's Facebook. And then TikTok is the Zainab Johnson. So THEZAINAB Johnson. And definitely check out my socials to see, when and where my hours dropping.
Hey, it's a secret. She can't share it, but it's keep a lookout somewhere.
I mean, it'll be out close to the time that this is good. Look for it because it's funny and some of these things that we explored. Yeah, I don't know. You might get a taste of it in a very humorous way.
Hey, I love that, man. That's so. Oh man, you guys gotta check that out. Make sure, I can't wait for that to drop, guys. And please stay in touch with us at Comedian Bible Study on Instagram. We also do weekly Wednesday studies on IG Live, so you can engage with that. Hit us up, hit the hearts, ask questions, and you can follow Channing at The Other Channing on Instagram. Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
The Other Channing, like not Channing Tatum.
Exactly.
Yeah, just so that people don't get confused.
Exactly.
Look at that face, man. It's easy to confuse. You're way cuter than that guy.
I'd be stripping.
Yeah, I'm saying. But guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Comedian Bible Study. Peace. That was fun. Thank you, Zaynab.
That was great.
Yeah.